Welcome to the Strong in Faith podcast. I'm your host, Tanisha Nishay, and I would like to welcome you to episode 6. Today's topic is It's Okay to Be Misunderstood. Now, I know it's not the easiest to be misunderstood, it could be very well uncomfortable at times, but know that it is okay to be misunderstood. A lot of successful and influential people can testify to being misunderstood. A lot of times people just really don't understand you, and sometimes people are willingly misunderstanding you. Yes, that is a thing. Some people don't want to understand you. Some people do not want to say that you're a good person, you have good character, you have good habits. Some people want to misunderstand you. Either way it go, it's okay. Again, being misunderstood is okay. And Jesus was misunderstood. And I'm going to reference a scripture in regards to that and piggyback on that later on in the episode. But I just want to encourage someone to not feel bad for being misunderstood. Don't feel like something is wrong with you. Do not feel like you are a mistake. And don't feel like there's people out here in this world that cannot relate to you, because they can. A lot of people sometimes don't open up about being misunderstood because it's not easy to talk to someone when you have felt um, this way for years. Some of these feelings have started when people were, middle school, high school, and it has carried on into their adult life. And if they feel like they really couldn't open up back then, I'm pretty sure, they're kind of iffy about opening up now. Because again, you always wonder in the back of your mind, is this person gonna misunderstand me? Is it really a point to open up? So all these things can go through a person's mind when they have been misunderstood, because again, it's not easy. You take it a day at a time and you learn to cope with it, but it's definitely a challenge. But I will tell you this: once you start to accept that people will misunderstand you, then you will learn how to cope with it better, because people feel misunderstood the most sometimes by people that they grew up with, or people that they feel like are familiar with them. That could be family, that could be people they're in relationships with or have been in relationships with. It's just that they feel like they haven't found their group of people that really understands them. And again, when it happens closest to you, again, that's hard, to cope with, to be honest, because you feel like you live a life on eggshells. You don't really know when you can be yourself, or you don't know when you should, kind of like tone it down, because again, some people will misunderstand you because they want to. All it takes is for you to do this, and they be like, I don't really know. I don't think I really want to hang around them. I don't really understand what they doing. I'm not with it. I don't agree with. They don't try to get an understanding. It's like they cool with misunderstanding you, and you have to let that go. Don't convince them to understand you. Just let it go and keep it moving. Because when a person wants to misunderstand you, then understand it's something that's going on with them. It's not really anything wrong with you. And I'll say that again. It's something going on with them, and it's not really anything wrong with you, because if that person don't come to you and try to understand why you did this and why you said that, they just want to take it and run with it. Okay, yeah, that's evident that they want to misunderstand you. It is evident that they want to misunderstand you, and you have to be okay with that. In 2025, we're not begging anybody to be in our circle, and we're not apologizing for being ourselves. Now, I understand people have really bad habits and keep doing people wrong and just keep doing things that are illegal, and people just don't understand why they like that. That's different. That's different. But I'm talking about if you are a person that's sweet, you have good character, people really don't have nothing bad to say about you. Yes, you're not perfect. Yes, you have made mistakes before, but at the end of the day, you have a really good reputation. Sometimes, again, people like to misunderstand people like that. They don't understand how you move. They don't understand why you know, sacrifice in these certain areas. And then, let's say that they may have tried to talk to you, but it's not really to get an understanding. It's just really to project how they feel on you and then move on. Just because they don't understand something, it's like they don't agree with what you got going on and how you're doing this. And it's like that's not really how you communicate with a person. But again, these people are doing this because they want to misunderstand you. And that's okay, because in Mark chapter 6, verses 45 through 56, it is evidence in those chapters that people really didn't know who Jesus was other than a miracle worker. And in these scriptures, God allowed Jesus to be put or be seen in a different light. Now, in this particular scripture, it talks about how Jesus walked on water. He allowed the sea to calm, and people were shocked about that because, again, they just knew Jesus as a miracle worker. They only could focus on what they saw and what they knew of him. But again, God showed himself through Jesus, and they was able to see him in another light or in another way. And then the disciples start to look at Jesus differently. You know, so again, it could be the people closest to you that really don't understand you. But again, that's not a reason for you to mistreat them or anything like that or be confrontational with them. Just know that God sees everything, and he has a way of making it all make sense. So if you feel like you have to explain yourself because of the stuff that people have been saying to you and throwing up in your face, no, this is not the time to do that. God sees everything. He's going to make it all make sense. He knows how to come in your life, put you in the forefront, and allow people to see you in a different way, in a different light. And then everybody who has something to say will have to eat their words. They will have to they will have to, even if they don't want to, they will have to change the way they think about you because of how God moved through you. So you have to be open and available for God to move in every area of your life, because God has a way, again, of making everything make sense. So, like I said before, we're not forcing anybody to agree with us. We're not forcing people to understand us. We're not going to keep explaining ourselves every time we do this or we do that. No. If somebody don't understand, they don't understand. And sometimes we don't have to respond to the things that they say. When people know that they act in a certain way towards you, they'll try to get a reaction out of you. And again, silence cannot be misunderstood. So you don't have to reply back to them. That's what they want you to do. They want you to reply so they can throw in something negative. And they'll just keep going and just keep going and just keep going again because they want to misunderstand you. They want to. And somebody needs to know that today, that people want to misunderstand some people. I know it is crazy, but then again, you got to think about the times we live in. People are doing some weird things. And once you accept you for you, and once you be yourself no matter what, you'll learn how to cope with things like this. Again, some of the most successful and creative, influential people can tell you that they have been misunderstood or probably still being misunderstood. You know what I'm saying? We see it every day in the news and in the media. As long as people have a mouth to talk, they are going to put other people down. They thrive off of this type of behavior. But again, you got to change your perspective and look at it as it's something that's going on with them and they trying to project it on you. They could be unhappy in their life. They can have some resentment. They could be envious. You know, you're doing things that they always desired to do, but just talked about it and never did. It could be something as simple as a certain characteristic about yourself that they wish they had. You could be a very bold and tenacious person with much strength and they wish they had that. Maybe you just blunt and they're a people pleaser. You know what I'm saying? It's people that will really envy you and behind things like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it's just the simple fact that you are secure in who you are. And they don't like that. Maybe they was there for you at a time that you needed them. And they keep trying to throw that up in your face. But every time they throw it up in your face, it don't bother you. You still are you. You are still confident in you. That bothers people. An insecure person will always be intimidated by somebody that is secure. Because it's like, is there anything that could tear this person down? Yeah, it might be, but they know how to get back up. They know who they are. They believe in themselves. So that gives them the strength to push forward. Some people don't have that. So again, they're not going to own up to that, but they're going to go out of their way to make sure that they misunderstand you and have a problem with the way you do things and how you live your life. But we're not going to feed into them. We're going to keep moving forward. We're going to continue to tell our testimonies. We're not going to be embarrassed about the past, what we went through, because again, who we were then is not who we are now. We are constantly changing and growing and becoming better. And so we're not going to let the naysayers get us off track. Because again, people are only going by what they see through their eyes. And you are way more than what a person sees through their eyes. You have a calling on your life. You know, some people are chosen by God. And when you're chosen by God, many are called, but few are chosen. When you're chosen by God, you're definitely going to be misunderstood, okay? Because you can interpret things from God that some people never will. You will be able to hear God and connect with Him on levels that some people will never reach. People are intimidated by that. When you are chosen, your discernment is strong. Yes, multiple people have the gift of discernment, but some people discernment is sharper than others. Don't let people lie to you. Some people discernment are sharper than others. And again, people don't like things like that. So they will go out of their way just because they don't understand how God speaks to you and how God moves through you. They'll begin to throw backlash, not understanding or not realizing that God sees everything. He's the all knowing God, whether people want to believe that or not. He's the all knowing God. So he sees everything. Okay. And so justice will be served. Yes, justice will be served on your behalf. So again, just keep going because we don't have time to explain anything. And I will keep iterating that we don't have time to be responding to nonsense. If you keep giving a clown attention, they will keep performing. Again, when you silent, it cannot be misunderstood. That's one thing that cannot be misunderstood. And so when there was times that I know that people were willingly misunderstanding me, I kept going. I did not give up. And I just had a recent incident where somebody came to me and they were so excited to tell me that they didn't understand nothing that I was doing. And basically saying that they didn't agree with it, just to be honest. Because they saw one little mishap. Out of all the time that I've been spending with them, they saw this one mishap and they took it and they ran with it. Now, they didn't come in and ask me about the mishap in a genuine way. They came right in and started attacking me. Why you didn't do this? Why you didn't do that? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? This don't make sense. We're just going down the line on all of this. So it means they have been sitting with this stuff. All this stuff was building up. They have been sitting with it and they just released it all that day. And and yes, I do know God gave me the strength to handle that in a very professional way. I said what I had to say, told them that I didn't care if they didn't understand, and left it at that. And now, to this day, they watch what they say to me because I've made that clear. You're not just going to say anything to me. You're not just going to treat me any kind of way because at the end of the day, I'm grown. Okay. And you don't have to agree with nothing, but you will respect me because sometimes you have to put your foot down. And so, with that, do they still feel a certain type of way? Yes, they do. But like I didn't care before, I still don't care now. So, in me moving forward and pushing past all that, I'm still seeing the blessings of God in my life because I know I'm on the right path that God has for me. I'm on the path that he has for me, so things are still happening in my life despite of what was said to me that day. And so I encourage you to still move forward just like I'm doing because you will reap the fruit of your labor. You cannot be weary and well doing. And I say that often because you can't. God reminds me of that daily because we can get in our feelings, especially if we're in the waiting, you know what I'm saying? And we're being misunderstood and all these things are being thrown at us. We can become very uncomfortable. We can want to give up. We can want to throw in the towel because, again, we feel like we don't have any support here physically. Yes, we know God is our support, but sometimes a person can feel alone. And it's like when we go in these different environments, it's like we can't be ourselves because, again, they feel like we always being watched. And it be the truth. It's not that you're dealing with a spirit of rejection. Sometimes that really be the truth and it be evident. You know what I'm saying? Like you have reasons to feel like this. You're not just coming up with this stuff. Like people have shown you multiple times how they feel about you through what they say and their actions. And so it's like you have to take it at face value. It is what it is. But you also have to know how to keep your composure too. Yeah. You gotta know how to keep your composure because this type of stuff is gonna happen. And especially as you elevate, oh yeah, it's gonna continue to happen. So once you start to be okay with being misunderstood now, it'll help you in the long run. Again, it's not easy. We're being honest and straightforward about that, but it's manageable. It's manageable. So again, if you're listening to this and you discouraged because it's feel like so many people is misunderstanding you, be okay with it. Because whatever they got going on ain't got nothing to do with you. Whatever they trying to project on you don't have nothing to do with you. You are still here because you have a purpose. Focus on that purpose. Focus on positive things that are happening in your life. Focus on where you're going. Focus on how far you've come. I don't care what past mistakes you've made. I don't care if you've been to jail. I don't care if you've had multiple kids. I don't care what you've done. You can overcome all of that. Your past can very well be your testimony. Don't be embarrassed about your past. You're not going to be bound by that. That's in the past for a reason. And I'll say that again. No, don't let what people know about you and what they say about you make them feel like they can keep something over your head and have you bound and in bondage. No, you are free. You are free in the mighty name of Jesus. You are free. You are not your past. That's why you are in the present. You overcame that. You ain't even got to speak about that no more unless you want to speak about it. Because that's the type of power and authority you have over your life. And if you don't want to elaborate on something, don't. If you didn't want to engage in something that somebody brought up, don't. And if they mad and they offended, oh well, that just give you even more evidence to stay away from them. Because people will continuously show you who they are. You just got to be watching and listening. We're not ignoring that stuff no more. No. Mm-mm. We're growing and we're thriving and we're being honest with ourselves and we're taking things at face value. So keep going. You at the right place at the right time to hear this message. So keep going. Keep going. And with that being said, I want to thank you so much for tuning in to today's message. Our episodes will be uploaded bi-weekly. So we have our next episode coming up in February. Please follow this podcast, share it with your friends because we have some great news coming up in February. So stay tuned and have a wonderful day.